You are halfway through a thought right now, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a second voice just asked, "Wait, is that actually true?" Most people never hear that voice, not because they are not smart, but because most people are inside their thoughts. You are watching yours. That is not normal. That is not something everyone does, and it has a name: metacognitive intelligence, the ability to think about your own thinking. Psychologists consider it one of the rarest and most powerful forms of intelligence that exists, and the people who have it almost never know they do, because it does not look like intelligence from the outside. It looks like hesitation. It looks like overthinking. It looks like someone who is never quite sure. But underneath that uncertainty is a mind operating at a level most people never reach. Here are 7 signs you are one of them. Sign 1. You catch yourself being wrong before anyone else does. Most people need someone else to tell them they are wrong. A friend, a colleague, a comment section they immediately regret reading. But you have something different, a quiet internal alarm that runs in the background of every conversation, every argument, every opinion you form. You're mid-sentence, and something stops you. Wait, that is not quite right. No defensiveness, no spin, no doubling down to save face, just a quiet internal correction. And then you move on. It sounds small, but think about the last time you actually watched someone do that unprompted. Not because they were caught, not because someone pushed back, but because they caught themselves. It's rarer than it should be. Psychologically, this connects to what researchers call error monitoring, a function linked to the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of your brain that acts like a quality control system for your own thinking. Most people's error monitoring activates after the fact, after they've already said the wrong thing, after the decision has already been made. Yours activates during, mid-thought, mid-sentence, mid-argument, and that split-second difference changes everything about how you navigate the world. Sign 2. You know exactly where your opinions came from. Here's a question most people have genuinely never asked themselves. Where did this belief actually come from? Not the surface answer, the real one. Did someone important to you hold it, and it quietly became yours without you noticing? Did you read one article 5 years ago and decide that settled it? Did you absorb it from the people around you without ever questioning whether it was actually true? Most people can't answer that question, not because they are not intelligent, but because they have never looked. You have. You can trace your beliefs back to their source. You know which ones came from experience and which ones came from assumption. And because of that, you hold your opinions more loosely, not because you are unsure of yourself, but because you understand something most people miss. A belief that came from incomplete information deserves to be updated when better information arrives. Psychologist Jonathan Haidt's research on moral reasoning found something striking. Most people form opinions emotionally first, and then construct logical reasons afterward. They think they're reasoning their way to a conclusion. They are actually just defending a feeling they already had. You notice that process happening in yourself, and that noticing is the difference between thinking and understanding how you think. Sign 3. You adjust how you think depending on what you're facing. Most people have one mental setting, one way they process things, and it gets applied to everything: relationship conflict, work decision, medical diagnosis, news article. Same filter, same approach, same lens. But you do something different. Before you even start thinking about a problem, you think about how to think about it. A deeply personal decision needs a different approach than a logical one. An emotional conversation needs a different lens than a factual debate, and you shift between them. Not perfectly, not always consciously, but you do it. Psychologists call this cognitive flexibility, the ability to recognize that different problems require different mental tools. In research from the University of Michigan found that people who score high in cognitive flexibility make significantly better decisions under pressure, not because they think faster, but because they think more appropriately. They match the quality of their thinking to the nature of what they're dealing with, And that match is something most people never even consider. Sign 4. Silence is where you do your best thinking. We live in a world that rewards whoever speaks fastest. Quick takes, hot opinions, instant reactions. There's an invisible pressure to always have something to say, and to say it immediately. But you have figured out something most people miss. The pause is not weakness. The pause is the actual work happening. When someone asks you something genuinely difficult, you go quiet, not because you're lost, because you're running an internal check before you speak. Is this my honest answer, or just the fastest one? Am I saying what I actually think, or what I think they want to hear? That moment of silence is metacognition happening in real time. And here's what most people misread about it. They see the pause and assume uncertainty, but the pause is not uncertainty, it's precision. Neuroscientist Daniel Kahneman's research on System 1 and System 2 thinking explains this directly. System 1 is fast, automatic, reactive. System 2 is slow, deliberate, accurate. Most people live almost entirely in System 1. You keep stepping into System 2, not always, not perfectly, but often enough that the pause has become part of how you think. And in a world addicted to speed, that pause is quietly one of your greatest advantages. Sign 5. You know exactly where your knowledge ends. Most people have a very loose relationship to the edges of what they actually know. They speak confidently about things they half understand. They fill in gaps with assumptions without realizing it, and they never notice the moment they crossed from knowledge into guesswork. But you have a precise internal map. You know what you know what you think you know, and you know you genuinely have no idea about. And crucially, you can feel the difference between those three things as it happens. That distinction matters more than most people realize, because the most dangerous thinking happens not in areas of total ignorance. It happens right at the edge of knowledge, where confidence and uncertainty overlap, and most people can't tell which side they're standing on. Psychologist David Dunning, whose name you might recognize from the Dunning-Kruger effect, found that the least skilled people in any area consistently overestimate their ability, but the most skilled consistently underestimate it, not because they are less capable, because they can see the full complexity of what they don't yet know. That awareness is uncomfortable sometimes. It means you hesitate where others charge forward. It means you qualify your statements where others make absolute claims. But that means your conclusions are built on something real. Sign 6. You notice when your feelings are doing the thinking for you. This is the subtle one, and it might be the most important. Everyone has emotions. That's not the issue. The issue is that most people have no idea when their feelings have quietly taken over the entire reasoning process. They believe they are being logical. They believe they are looking at the evidence. But underneath that, fear or pride or the need to be right is actually running the whole show. You notice that. Not always, not in every moment, but often enough that it changes how you make decisions. You feel the emotion, you name it, and then you deliberately separate it from the logic before you move forward. Research from neuroscientist Antonio Damasio found something important here. Emotions are not the enemy of good thinking. They are essential to it. But there's a difference between emotions informing your thinking and emotions replacing your thinking. Most people never learn to feel that difference. You do. And that ability to catch the moment your feelings become your reasoning is the rarest and most valuable cognitive skill a person can develop. Sign 7. You notice when you're avoiding your own thoughts. This is the quietest sign of all, and probably the rarest. Most people experience uncomfortable thoughts the same way. Something surfaces that challenges a belief they hold, or points towards a conclusion they don't want to reach, and without even deciding to do it, they steer away from it. They get busy. They change the subject inside their own head. They find a reason why that thought doesn't apply to them, and they never even notice they did it. But you catch that moment. You notice the mental swerve, and instead of following it, you turn towards the uncomfortable thought and ask, why don't I want to go there? That question alone puts you in a category most people never reach, because most people never even realize they were avoiding anything at all. Psychologist Shelley Duvall's research on self-awareness
found that the ability to observe your own mental avoidance is directly linked to higher emotional intelligence, greater decision-making accuracy,
and deeper self-understanding over time. The mind that can face its own resistance is the mind that keeps growing, while others stay comfortable and stay exactly where they are. So here is what all 7 of these signs have in common. You do not just have thoughts, you observe them. You question them. You catch them before they catch you. That is metacognitive intelligence. And here is the hidden cost nobody talks about. Because you are constantly monitoring your own mind, you feel it. The overanalysis, the mental fatigue, the inability to ever fully switch off. While others drift through life without noticing, you are acutely aware of what is happening in every corner of your mind. Socially, it can feel isolating, like you're always a step ahead of people who are not wired this way. But that same awareness gives you something most people never experience. You see patterns others miss. You catch assumptions before they calcify. You notice impulses before they erupt. You understand yourself at a level most people never even attempt. And that understanding is not a burden. It's the rarest form of intelligence there is. Out of 7, how many felt like home? Tell me in the comments.